This week I'm going to lead you through a short and fun beginner's yoga practice. It's a short flow that you can loop a few times. You might do it once, twice, depending on how long you want your practice to be today. Let's get started. For this practice, you don't need any special equipment, no props. You don't even necessarily need a yoga mat if you don't have one, just a space where you can practice in. We're going to do a short flow that you can then repeat a few times, and even within that sequence, within that flow, we're going to do some repetitions so you have time to get used to the movements, used to breathing together with the movements. But don't worry about the breathing too much. Today we're just gonna more focus on the movements, and the breath will maybe follow when you feel familiar and comfortable with the movements. So you don't need to know anything about yoga or yourself to go through this practice. We're going to start from lying down on the back. So bring yourself onto your back, so your head, your shoulders are leaning onto the floor, and then bend your knees. So you have your feet on the mat. You could leave a little gap there between the feet. And take a few breaths in and out. As much as possible, try to breathe in through the nose throughout the whole practice. And whether you exhale through the nose or mouth, that's your choice. What feels more natural to you. But your nose will clean the air that you breathe in. So that's why we'll try to inhale through the nose. And then after those few breaths, with your knees bent, start to swing your knees, your legs from side to side. We call this the windshield wipers movement, because your legs are moving from side to side like windshield wipers, and you can let your pelvis move. And maybe you feel a bit of twisting in your spine. You can let your back move. You might let your shoulders move if that feels good. So it can be a full body movement. Let's do this a couple more times from side to side. So we start to bring movement to hips, to spine. We're still breathing in and out. And then bring your legs back to the center. And now hug your knees in towards the chest, towards the belly. And here you have an option to have your legs very close together. Or some of you might want to open the legs a bit wider apart. What feels good in your body today? Breathe in and out. And then you'll have a choice to make. You can either roll onto one side and bring yourself onto hands and knees, or hold on to your knees. So hug the legs in, and with a rounded back, start to rock forward and back a few times, so that you can then bring yourself all the way up into a seat, and through that seat, bring yourself onto hands and knees. Or as we say, onto all fours. And here, have your hands roughly under your shoulders, knees roughly under your hips. And you choose if you tuck the toes under or if you relax your feet. And we're going to do a movement we call the disco cat. So now start to move the weight from hands to knees, knees to hands. And at the same time, imagine that you're circling your chest bone so that you're rounding and arching the spine. Like you're drawing circles in the air with your chest bone. Head can draw circles in the air as well. You might bend your elbows. You can let your pelvis move. Let's change the direction. Now, there's no one right way to do this movement. It's really just about getting your spine moving, allowing the hips and the shoulders to move. So just play with the idea of circling your chest so that you're rounding and arching the spine. And if you feel some movement in your shoulders, in your back, maybe in the hips, you're doing a great job. Let's do a couple more rounds. If possible, notice the breath as well. Still breathing in and out. And then let's calm down that circling movement. Bring your weight to the center. And now from hands and knees, step your right foot forward to your hands, maybe to the outside of your right hand. And then we're going to tuck the left foot toes under behind us, lift the left knee off the mat, and then give yourself a little push with that left foot. Step your left foot to your hands as well, and you can leave your knees bent. We're going to round the back into a full forward bend. I suggest keeping the knees bent. You can either hang your arms down and even let your head drop down, or if you want to stay a bit higher up, if that's a very big stretch, then lean elbows onto your thighs and then round your back. So we're looking for some stretching, opening on the back side of the body. Could be backs of the legs, could be your back, maybe your neck. Take another breath in and out. And then we're slowly going to roll the back up. Now bend your knees just a bit more and start to lift your back up. If you want, you could even reach your arms up towards the ceiling, opening the chest, and then breathe out and bring the arms sideways down next to your sides. And here you could roll the shoulders a bit. We're going to next step the feet wider apart and rotate the hips open, and that means turning toes out to the side slightly. And just bend and straighten the knees a couple of times. See that your knees would go about in the same line with your toes, so you can still adjust your feet. And from here, we're going to do 3 rounds of breathing with the arms and legs moving. We're going to inhale, lengthen the arms up, bring palms together. Exhale, bend the knees and bring hands in front of the chest, pressing the palms against each other. Inhale. As you exhale, push your hands out to the sides like you're pushing walls away. And then same again. Inhale, straighten the legs, reach your arms up, bring hands together. Exhale, bend the knees, lower the hands in front of the chest. And we inhale, press the palms against each other. And then exhale, push the hands again out to the sides. You might follow the hands with your gaze. One more time. Inhale, lifting the arms up, straightening the legs, palms come together. Exhale, one more time, bend the knees, palms together in front of the chest, and push the hands against each other, strengthening the arms. Exhale, open the arms and push the hands out to the sides. Then inhale, reach once more up. And now exhale, bring the arms sideways all the way down. Roll the shoulders a few times and walk your feet closer together. Now we're going to start our flow, and we're going to repeat this flow 4 times. So there will be time to get used to the flow, get used to the movements, and maybe we'll loosen up our body a little bit as well as we go through those 4 rounds. Now just check that you are breathing. There's no right or wrong way to breathe as we go through this Sun Salutation flow. We're going to start close to the top of your practice space. So you have room behind you so you can step your feet back without hitting anything. Inhale and exhale. Try to soften the shoulders. And then as you inhale, like we did before, reach your arms up. You might even look up. Exhale, bring your palms together and dive down into a full forward bend. You can bend your knees as much as you want. Bring hands onto your shins or knees and inhale into what we call flat back. So you're straightening your back, like you're pulling your head forward, pulling your tail back, opening the chest. And then with the next breath, bend all the way down into a full forward bend and bring your hands down. So you might bend your knees just a bit more. From here, step your right foot far back into what we call the runner's lunge. And you can step your hands on the inside of that left foot. Inhale. And then slowly bring your right knee onto the mat. Place more weight on the hands and step your left knee next to the right knee. And then lean your pelvis back into child's pose. You can relax your feet and lean your head all the way down. You can leave arms overhead. Still breathing. From this child's pose, come back onto hands and knees. Inhale forward. And then as you exhale, lower your chest, your belly all the way down onto the mat. Keep your legs long. Inhale, lift your chest off the mat. Let's start with a small cobra pose. Hands can press down, opening your chest off the mat. And then exhale, release your chest back down. Lift back onto hands and knees, back onto all fours. Now step your right foot to your hands. Lift the left knee off the mat, tucking the left foot toes under. And like we did before, give a little push with the left foot. Step your left foot forward, hands on the shins. Inhale to flat back, that halfway lift, opening the chest. Exhale, bend all the way down into full forward bend. Let your arms, your hands hang down. See if you can drop your head down as well. All the weight on your feet. Bend the knees. Inhale, lift your back up, lift arms up. And exhale, release the arms down. That's one round. And if you noticed, on that first round, we stepped the right foot back. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to step the left foot back when we go into the lunge. So, same beginning. Inhale, lengthen, arms up, open the chest. Hands touching. Exhale, bend all the way down like you're diving down. Knees can be bent. Hands on the shins. Inhale, open your chest. Try to straighten your back. Halfway lift into flat back. And as you exhale, bend all the way down into full forward bend. And bring your hands onto the mat. Now we're going to step the left foot far back into that runner's lunge. Hands on the inside of your right foot. Bring your left knee down and step your right knee next to the left knee. From all fours, relax your toes, lean the pelvis back into child's pose. So you're really curling in. Head can even lean down onto the mat. Breathe in and out. And then with the next in-breath, come all the way forward onto hands and knees, and then lean the weight further forward over your wrists. As you exhale, slowly bring your chest, bring your belly down. Keep your legs long and active. Inhale, lift into that cobra back bend, lifting your chest off the mat. If you want, you can go a bit higher up if you feel that's good for your back. You might straighten the arms more. Next exhalation, release your chest back down. And as you inhale, lift onto hands and knees. Now we're going to step the left foot forward to the hands and lift the right knee off the mat so your toes tucked under in that right foot. Take some weight from that right foot so you can step your both feet to your hands. And as you inhale, straighten the back, that halfway lift. Head reaching forward, pelvis reaching back. Exhale, bend down into a full forward bend. And remember, you can bend your knees if you want. As you inhale, start to roll your back up. Press down through the feet, lift the back up, reach arms up. You can even look up if you want. Exhale, release the arms down. You can roll the shoulders. Now we're going to go once more through the right side, through the left side. And we'll try to go a tiny bit faster. We'll try the idea of doing one breath per one movement. But like I said in the beginning, the most important thing is that you breathe. So you can take extra breaths anywhere along the way. So we start again from what we call the mountain pose. This is a mountain pose, standing. Inhale, lengthen arms up. As you exhale, bend all the way down. And you can play with straightening the legs if you want. Hands on the shins. Inhale to flat back, opening the chest, straightening the back. Exhale, bend all the way down. And you can bend your knees quite deeply. Inhale, step your right foot far back into that runner's lunge. And then exhale, bring your right knee onto the mat. Inhale, step your left knee next to the right knee. You can relax the toes. Exhale into child's pose. Head can lean down. Let's take an extra breath in this child's pose. Then with the next in-breath, come forward onto your hands and knees and shift the weight forward over the wrists. Exhale down onto your belly. And then as you inhale, lift up into a cobra, or if you want, you could try upward facing dog, lifting your knees off the mat as well. And then exhale, come all the way back down. Inhale onto hands and knees. Now step your right foot to your hands and then lift your left knee off the mat. Take some speed from that left foot. Inhale, step your left foot forward. Exhale, hands on the shins. And as you inhale, extend the back into that flat back, straightening the back. Exhale, bend all the way down, full forward bend. Arms, hands can hang down. Inhale, roll the back up. You can bend the knees, arms reaching up, open the chest. Exhale, release the arms down. Breathe in and out. We'll do one more time, stepping the left foot. Inhale, reach your arms up, open the chest. Exhale, bring hands together and then dive down, bend forward from the hips and from the back. Hands on the shins. Inhale, start to open the chest away from the mat. Again, trying to straighten, reaching the back, forward and back. Exhale, bend all the way down and bring your hands to the mat. Now we're going to step the left foot back. Inhale as you step your left foot back, hands on the inside of the right foot. Exhale, bring your left knee down. Inhale, bring right knee to your left knee. You can release the toes. Exhale into child's pose. Head can lean down. Let's take that extra breath here again. Then inhale, come forward onto hands and knees, or maybe you want to try a full plank. You can straighten your legs, lift the knees off the mat. Exhale, slowly come down, bring your chest down, your belly down, your legs down. Inhaling to cobra, keeping the pelvis on the mat, or into upward dog, lifting the pelvis, the knees off the mat. Exhale, come back down onto your chest, onto your belly. And inhale, lift onto hands and knees. We're going to step the left foot forward to the hands. Lift your right knee off the mat. Now you're going to take a bit of a push from that right foot. Inhale, step your right foot forward. Exhale there. Hands on the shins. Inhaling to flat back, that halfway lift. Once more. Exhale, bend down into a full forward bend. And then as you inhale, roll the back up, reach arms up. Exhale, release the arms down. Okay, that's 4 rounds of Sun Salutation. You can notice maybe the body is feeling ready for a balancing pose, because that's what we're going to do next. So we're going to try to stand on one foot. We're going to try the tree pose. Now, from 2 feet, we're going to shift the weight first onto the right foot. And balancing poses are not like statues, so feeling wobbly and moving, kind of swaying in a balancing pose is very normal, very natural thing. So don't feel like you have to stay completely still. Once you have the weight on your right foot, open the left hip so that you bring the left foot kind of on the inside of the right ankle, so you can keep the left foot toes on the mat. And then bring palms together in front of the chest and again press the palms against each other. This creates some stability in your upper body, in your core, and might also help your shoulders, the tops of the shoulders, to relax. Now you can either stay here, or if you feel like you want to challenge yourself, you could start to lift or kind of slide that left foot a bit higher up along your right shin. But try to keep the foot below the knee, so we're not pushing into the knee joint. And you're very welcome to keep the left foot toes on the mat. Now check that you are breathing. And you can either keep your palms together, or you could lengthen the arms up and then open the arms a bit wider apart. That might help you to create a bit more freedom in the shoulders. Maybe it gives more space for your breath. Maybe it helps you to balance. Focus your eyes onto one spot, something that is not moving. That often helps us with balancing poses, when the eyes stay rather still, the eyes stay focused. Take one more breath in and out. It's been a long balancing pose. And then slowly bring the palms back together. And as you exhale, release the hands down and release your both feet down. And now you can move your feet, move your knees, your shoulders. That was a long pose, but sometimes we need that extra time to check how we're feeling in the pose and where we can find a bit more steadiness, where we can find a bit more support. And that slow pace also gives us time to breathe. Now we'll try the same pose on the other side. So now we're going to move the weight onto the left foot, and you can focus on spreading the toes a bit onto the mat. And we're going to open the right hip. Now, as you open your right hip, try to imagine both buttocks, your butt cheeks kind of hug towards each other. So we're engaging both buttocks. And then you can bring the right foot on the inside of the left ankle. So your right foot toes are still on the mat. And bring palms together. That open leg knee doesn't need to point out to the side. For most of us, it's kind of diagonally somewhere, not out on the side, not right in front of us, somewhere in between, kind of diagonal corner line. And if you want, again, you have the option to slowly slide the right foot a bit higher up. If you feel that you're falling over, just bring those toes back onto the mat. So our biggest focus here is in the standing leg and in that core support. So you could imagine you're trying to lift a bit up through the belly. You can press the palms together in front of the chest, or you could start to lengthen the arms up. Maybe even open the arms wider apart. And again, keep your eyes focused on something that's not moving. It gives stability for your balance, gives focus for your pose. Check if you're still breathing, if it's possible to breathe here. Take another breath in and out. Again, this is a long balancing pose. And then bring your palms together, and as you exhale, lower your hands down, lower your feet down, and let your feet move, let your shoulders move. And then we're going to come back lying down on the back. We still have a couple of movements lying down, so bring yourself any easy way to lie down on your back. And again, we're going to leave the knees bent and bring arms down next to the sides. Palms could be facing up or palms could be facing down, what feels natural to you. And leave your feet about hip width apart, so you feel you can press your feet down. We're going to lift into a back bend called the bridge. Don't try to push as high up as you can, just let's start from an easy edge. First, inhale. And then as you exhale, press the feet down and start to lift your pelvis off the mat. Start to lift your back off the mat. And kind of opening through the front of the hips, opening through the belly, through the chest. Make sure that you can keep breathing. So don't push your chest too much into your chin. Don't put too much pressure onto your neck. So just staying on an edge where you can breathe. And here, try to keep your feet active, pressing down. Try to keep your inner thighs active. Your buttocks gently active, lifting your pelvis away from the mat. One more breath, in and out. Shoulders can gently press down. And then exhale, release your back, release your pelvis down. And you could do a couple of those windshield wipers that we did in the very beginning, swinging the knees, swinging the legs from side to side. The pelvis can rock from side to side. Then bring your legs back to the center and hug your knees in towards the chest, towards the belly. Now you could stay here, or if you like to explore a bit more, opening through the legs once more, you could try a happy baby pose. And for happy baby, we'd turn the knees out to the sides and reach hands either to the backs of the knees, backs of the thighs, or you could reach the arms kind of on the inside of the legs, take hold of your ankles, or You could even take hold of your feet. And it might be that at this point your pelvis, your buttocks come off the mat, and that is very, very fine. Either stay here, or the very last option would be to start to lift the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. Now this could be a big stretch in the inner thighs, backs of the legs. Could be a rounding, kind of little stretch in the lower back. And here it might be nice to move a bit. So we call this a happy baby. You can imagine a baby has found their feet. It might be rocking, moving a bit from side to side. You can decide how much you want to bend or straighten the legs. Check that you're breathing. Do another breath or two in and out in your pose, wherever you are. And then if you have your feet higher up, slowly bend the knees more. Close the hips if you had your hips open. And then release your feet down. And release your legs down into Shavasana pose. And this is the final resting, final relaxation pose. Breathe in and out. And now you have an option. You can either stay resting in this Shavasana pose. I would recommend about 5 minutes. But if you feel that you want to now start the practice from the beginning and do the same practice second time, you can just jump back to the beginning of the video and start from the beginning. Doing the same practice again might give you more, and it might be easier to follow as you are now more familiar with the movements, with the flow. So you decide if you now stay resting, if this is the end of your practice today, or if you loop to the beginning. I'm going to leave you here with that choice. Thank you very much for joining in. And if you have any questions about the practice, do let me know, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.